I'm attorney Kenneth D. Snow, and at the Snow Legal Group, justice is our job.
For more than 20 years, Attorney Snow has been fighting for justice and winning cases in the Carolinas by providing aggressive representation in criminal defense, domestic violence, family law, serious injury, and wrongful death. If you've been injured or lost a loved one in an accident, including tractor trailer or ride share, you need the Snow Legal Group by your side, fighting for justice and fighting for you. Visit snowlegal.com. Call 704-358-0026 for a free virtual consultation. Located at 6827 Fairview Road, Suite D in South Park.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.
You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. I am so glad to have you all with us today. How are you, Donovan?
I'm doing great. Great. Thank you for having me here.
Well, you know some of the behind the scenes stuff, right? Because I officially went to vote this morning after I took my daughter to school. So I wake up pretty early at 5 something. We get all of her morning routine done, and then I take her to school. But then today being what? Election day, everyone. So if you haven't voted, make sure you go out and vote. So since that was the case, I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way early this morning. And I was in a long line. I was like, I'm not going to make my own show. I would have gone live even if it was just from the car. But I'm so glad to be here with you, Donovan, in my virtual seat, and glad to be able to look in your eyes virtually. Where are you located?
I am in Windsor, Colorado. So
Okay.
Nice kind of gray day here. It's usually sunny out here, but gray, kind of 50-degree-ish.
That's a good thing out in Colorado, right? That's a good day.
It's a good day.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here today. And listen, everyone in the virtual studio audience, go ahead and grab your seats as well and share the broadcast. Let people know that we're going to have a really robust discussion today with Donovan Dreyer. And I think it's going to be, I just want to give you a brief introduction, but then give you a chance to just share with people what they can expect from today's episode. I think you'll be able to sum it up better than I would. So listen, the traffic light, we know, keeps intersections safe for drivers. Well, Donovan, he actually takes that concept and makes the complex inner world for teens very simple. Gen Z needs to be supported in finding their genius zone and their big why. And he feels like life coaching shouldn't have to wait just until we're in our midlife. So now I think you're personally talking to me, Donovan. Welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show, Donovan Dreyer.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really excited to dive in and, share this tool. It really is, I think, one of the biggest breakthroughs for mental health right now, with the big stigma there is about getting help when it's needed, knowing when to help, knowing what to do. So we're going to be able to help everybody gain some X-ray vision into their teenagers today and into themselves. I mean, it's a self-awareness tool. It's also an other awareness tool so that we can be aware of others. And what people are going to come away with is just a better ability to read themselves and read others. And this is especially important for parents and educators.
I love this. Okay, so today, anybody that you think needs to learn how to better read the situation, the person, whatever, you're going to learn that today. So go ahead and say, hey, you want to tune into this great episode, okay? And
Yes.
all of you that are watching on CTR Media Network as well, I know it streams in over 46 countries. I'm glad to have you all on this platform as well. So listen, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to just deep dive into some of this conversation. Donovan, I'd like to first start when we do come back with what inspired you to even become interested in this? Because people have interest all the time, but what really did it for you? When we come back, and we're going to take a commercial break now. We'll be right back.
All right.
I'm attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
All right, everybody. We are back here on the Kim Jacobs Show talking with Donovan. And Donovan, tell us what inspired you to become passionate about this.
Yeah, well, I had no clue what I wanted to do when I grew up. So at, I think 18, 19, I took one of those personality assessments, and it confused me 10 times more. So it came up with chef, pilot, accountant, police officer, lawyer, and writer. And I was like, how did that help me? So I was like, wow, aviation, Western Michigan has aviation. Let me go see up if I go up in the airplane and I feel okay, that's probably it. It's a sign. And maybe they just plugged that in there because they actually were one of the few universities that actually has aviation. But
right. Interesting.
It caught my attention.
Right.
But if you fast forward, I'm in Zingerman's Deli in 1993 after graduating. It took me 5 years to get all those pilot certificates and everything else. And this guy was just crazy passionate that I met with. He was an airline captain. So I finally did an informational interview. First tip, do those before you spend 4 or 5 years doing all of your education and spending all those big bucks.
Good. That's good advice, because then you'll determine.
Yeah. So he was amazingly passionate. A lot of times it's like, oh, check, this is the right thing for me because look at how exciting this career is. But for me, it was like, I don't feel like that for this. This is just, I got to go find that. I'm in my 20s here. I'm going to do the soul searching now. Good. Before I walked out of Zingerman's Deli, I made that commitment. I made that no-go decision. Like we teach you a go and a no-go decision with flying airplanes. Like today, it's too gray. I couldn't do it. But I made a no-go decision right then and there. And I just decided I'm going to figure out who I am. And I bet you I can find something I'm as excited about as that guy is about flying. But flying isn't it. And I bet maybe, we all kind of have that, but I've got to make sure I don't waste my 20s. I'm going to go figure this out. So fast forward all the way till I'm 29.
Okay.
28, 29. I finally figured out just before I get out of the 20s. And the Columbine shooting happened in the midst of when I was trying to figure out, how do I want to help people? Because it kind of dawned on both my wife and myself that I'm here to help people. But when that happened, I just thought that's a game changer in our society. And I want to do something about the violence amongst kids and just do something to get in the trenches, because they had why on the cover of Newsweek and it was all gigantic font. And I was like, well, whatever they say in there, we can't really know. This is too unusual to know. And unfortunately, that trajectory hasn't totally changed for the better in the 22 years since then. However, that's what spurred me to go into this field and to get in the trenches of a school. We didn't know they were trenches really, to the degree that they can be these days with all the fears that parents have and kids have. So that's what got me going, is just when that happened, I thought that's going to go off the cover. It's going to go out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people. But that's been front and center for me ever since.
And so is this just you on this journey, or you and your wife? I know you mentioned your wife as well.
No, she and I both realized that I'm here to help people.
That's what your passion is.
She's a teacher. Yeah, she's an art teacher. And I was helping her through her day and helping her through her day again and again. And we were just like, you need to help other people with this.
You need to get in, and don't worry about just me. Go get into this field yourself and really help these children.
Yeah,
and
so
you really took
for her. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I'm kind of all used up with all the listening, and she doesn't have quite the helper she used to have. But oh well.
Well, I'm sure you're still there for her. That's for sure. And now, when you made that decision, no airlines and all of that, but definitely focusing on children, you immediately started doing what? Right before your 30s hit, you decided to do what to really deep dive into this field? What did you
I got my master's degree in school counseling, and I decided that's exactly how I'm going to get into the trenches. And so I did. I did that for 20 years, and after 15 years, I created the system that finally helped me be able to triage kind of this revolving door of a school counselor's office. Because I mean, you can't even imagine how often there are mental health issues and crisis issues and things that come through the school every single day. And so it became a system for me to kind of basically get a good clue into what's going on in kids, develop that X-ray vision, and start to actually have a good grasp of exactly where they're at with their stress levels. So yeah, it was school counseling.
Well, I love it. I love it. And I actually have your video clip up here. So when people want to learn more, and I'll put it in the comment section for you all, you should go to getreadycoaching.com. And I'm a visual person, so I like to show people things versus just telling them. Let's see here. I see Mackenzie's making some comments back here. Let me make sure. Oh, my hair looks fire. Oh,
That was mine.
Mackenzie. Okay, thank you, dear.
it's
That's
yours.
a great thing when you get someone from the backstage that's helping you, giving you a compliment. She's like, way to go, Kim. I'm trying to, you know what? I don't have my glasses on, so I didn't know what you were saying, Mackenzie. Let me see.
I figured that was for you and not me.
Oh. When you saw something about hair, you're like, she must be talking to Kim. Well, anyway, thank you, Mackenzie. So getreadycoaching.com. I'm going to share this screen with you so you'll have a visual of what you will see when you visit his website. And it's very clear. It's not just all over the place, which I think I love, because it's very targeted and specific. Hold on. Let's pop this up and Get Ready Coaching. Thank you. Here we go. So I'm going to pop this up so you can talk through.
That guy's got great hair too.
That guy just happens to be you, right? Okay. Let me go here and play this for a second. I don't know how long it is, but I want to hear it from this video clip too, okay?
It'll be familiar.
All right. Can you hear it? No, let me play it a little.
Confused when it comes to the future.
Start it over. There we go.
Are oftentimes just as confused when it comes to the future as any other student. So for those students that really are stretching, they want those big lofty goals in life, but you're just not sure about what you want to do, I've got something that helps you make your career much more clear. So my Teen Takeoff program helps kids get this whole future planning figured out, your life, your lifestyle, your big lofty goals when it comes to career and everything else. And the structure of this is a group coaching setting. So a lot of kids are super serious about their future too, just like you. And so in this group coaching, you're digging in, the other kids are digging in to really figure out how to make a great plan, to get super clear about your future. So there's a story to this as well. So my story goes back to 1993. I'm sitting in Zingerman's Deli. I'm with an airline captain. He knows what he wants to do. He's telling me all about being an airline captain. I had just finished my aviation career, and I discovered this guy is rabidly crazy about flying, and I'm not. So I had to figure out just right then in that moment, should I stick with this or not? And I decided right there and there to pivot, to do that soul searching and figure out what was just as exciting for me as flying was for this guy. So I dug in, figured it all out. If we fast forward a while, I decided I want to work with kids. I want to help them figure out how to make the most of their lives. I hadn't figured it out myself. There was also a lot going on in the world. The Columbine shooting happened and 9/11 happened. And all of these things were really helping me figure out I wanted to do something to help people, especially teenagers like you. And now I really help on specializing this whole area of figuring out your career. That's my forte. I want to help you figure out what your future is going to be with as much clarity as possible. The more clear you get, the more confident you are. So let's go ahead and grab the free download that I have available on my site right now or right below on this post. So this is Donovan Dreyer with the Teen Takeoff program with Get Ready Coaching.
All right. I wanted to just make sure that people get a chance, because sometimes when we just put a website up, people don't know really when I go there, what am I expecting? Well, that's what you're expecting. You're going to get a free download on Get Ready Coaching. If you have teenagers that can really benefit from this program, they're going to learn from Donovan on how to plan better for their future. And that's actually the question I have for you, Donovan. Do you think that a teenager really can plan for the future for real from your perspective?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's not 1920 something anymore. It's 2022. So I think we can't count on something even, I mean, something's not even going to exist that doesn't even exist is what a kid can do for a career. So that's kind of my favorite project. If we're looking at prepping kids for things that do not exist, That's been happening all throughout my career. And we can't say I'm going to do X for 30 years necessarily. So to me, it's like there's like a meter, a slider between like our clarity and our certainty and our confidence about what we're going to do. And we need to raise that up. We need to have more clarity, more certainty, and more confidence in what we do. And then it's that go, no go decision. We got to start at something. And then we're not necessarily going to be doing that forever and ever. That's not the decision we're making at 18 or 22 any longer. That might have been it 100 years ago, but not any longer.
Okay, so you're just pretty much talking about like taking what are the baby steps just to start going in the direction that you want to see your future. Don't worry about what the outcome is of the full picture yet.
Right.
Which is kind of opposite of what some people teach, because most of the time people teach, oh, know what the big plan is, know where you're ultimately going. And I actually talk about that myself sometimes too, that you want to get that big picture goal in mind and then reverse engineering. But what I think I'm hearing you say is, don't worry about all of that. Just let's
not exactly. All right.
Oh.
So you do need to create that vision. You do need to get as much clarity. So we're going to raise that clarity up, not to maybe 100, but as close to 100 as we can. And then we need to make a revision. So if we're going to make a vision at 18 or 20 or 22, we're going to make a revision at some point and say, okay, let's make that vision again for the long term, because we always need to have something to aim at regardless. But we can always revise it and have a version 2.0 of that vision.
I love it. Then I actually 100% support that theory that you're sharing, because even as adults, we need to, even in our midlife years or whatever, we need to go back and reevaluate and say, here's what the plan was when I was younger, but different things have changed. Maybe physically, I can't do that particular thing anymore, whatever the case may be. So revising the plan.
You got it.
And updating it and making some tweaks and adjustments. Yes.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. All right. So when you said the stop and go, the red light, green light, yellow light, what made that become your analogy that you decided to use?
Yeah, we shared this a little bit before the show. So a little bit of a trigger warning here for sure, because I mean, it was born out of tragedy. It was born out of trauma. It was born out of a scarred whole community, let alone a scarred individual. So for me, throughout my career, it crossed into double figures with completed suicides in my school counseling career over the course of 20 years. And I had a mother of one of the completed suicides. So she lost her son, and she thought, well, we had this amazing presentation where somebody can come in and just hand in a business card if they can't say those words or they can't say help or anything like that. And she said, that's too late. That's like late stage cancer where you've got, a week to live or a month to live, and can't we find that sooner? And I didn't have a way to do that. And I guess in that moment, if I look back at the first 15 years of my career, I didn't have clarity and confidence meter really high as I thought it was. I mean, I probably had a good feel for it after that many years of working with kids. But what she said is, can we catch it before it's to that stage? So I worked with a numbering system, but some kids are like, I want to get out of class, so all I need to be is like a 1 out of 10 on my stress level to come in and see you, Mr. Dreyer. And then other kids are like, well, I'm not ever asking for help. It needs to be a 10 out of 10. And then somebody else probably needs to drag me into your office, Mr. Dreyer, if my stress is on like 100% stress load, because I'm not doing it. I'm not going to get that help. So I was like, well, then between 1 and 10 doesn't mean anything with a numbering system. And that's when it dawned on me, like Seth Godin talks about combining really strange stuff. So, I mean, this was the deal here is there's actually a chart of time here as well. And so
do I have that chart somewhere?
This is a chart that I can definitely get to you for sure.
Okay. It's one of the commercial breaks. I'll just put it in the private chat for you to email it, because I would love for people to be able to screenshot that.
Yeah. And there's a more current version. As you can see, I'm always working with this thing.
Oh, yes. That's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it evolved because the numbering system didn't work. And then I also realized, well, there's just 3 to-do items at a traffic light. And the time part of it is mixing the stock market charting technical analysis with it all, so that we actually ask you not only how are you doing today, but what about yesterday and the day before? Because that way I can get a trend of the stress is getting worse, or it's the same, or it's getting better. So combining those 3 things helped me like crack the code when it comes to this nebulous inner world of mental health. And when I was able to do that, it helped me just figure out how to actually get kids total clarity on where they're at. And if they didn't really understand what the 3 levels meant, I would educate them.
Good.
So I mean, I could share what those 3 levels mean if you want me to do that.
I definitely want you to share what those 3 levels mean.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll take a commercial break. We have a whole hour together, Donovan.
All right.
So I want you to share everything you can, and also email me that information if you want me to pop it on the screen, and I'll be happy if you send it right to that Yahoo account, and I'll be happy to put it right up for people to screenshot as well. Listen, everybody, we're talking with Donovan Dreyer, and what he's done is he actually cracked his own code, because he could have gone in a whole different direction in the aviation, which aviation is for somebody, obviously, just wasn't for him. So thank goodness and thank God that he was able to, at an early age, in his 20s, I believe that's early age, discover his true passion, which is to help other young people find ways to crack the codes in their lives and be able to go and pursue their own goals and dreams and create the future that they so rightfully deserve. So I'm excited to have Donovan here today. And when we come back, we're going to hear those 3 steps that you are talking about. Okay. So we'll be right back, everyone, right after this commercial break. I do see some questions coming in. We'll address your questions as well first when we come back. Then we'll go to the 3 steps. We'll be right back.
I have peace of mind with Silver Shield Security, which has been protecting my family and home, along with servicing the Carolinas for over a decade. Silver Shield Security knows the importance of convenience and safety. Whether you live in an apartment, a home, or run a business, they are here to protect you from unwanted intrusions and fires. Call now at 704-440-4688 or visit the website at www.silvershield-security.com. You can use my promo code #ToneX and get 1/2 off your installation price. Don't forget to ask about the new no money down options. Let Silver Shield Security help to give you peace of mind, just like me and my family, and keep your business safe.
All right, everyone, we're back and we're talking with Donovan here today on the Kim Jacobs Show. He is talking about basically how a child can create a vision and also revision and revamp the vision as much as needed to be able to have the outcome that they want in their lives. And so I see some of the comments that are coming in. Mackenzie, if you could pop some of those up, I'd greatly appreciate it from backstage. Let's see. Okay, Vanita says, good morning, Kim and Donovan. Good morning, Vanita. Glad to have you. Anybody else? This is inspiring, Dennis Spraggin says.
Awesome.
The aviation of one's life. Oh, wait, pause it for a second. Donovan, make note of that. That's a good theory, especially since you're talking about aviation and then how your life took a drastic turn. Mm-hmm. I think Dennis just shared a great nugget with you, the aviation of one's life.
Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, go ahead. Let's keep the comments coming. Who else said something? Dennis also asked a question. He says, so what's your secret? Let me pop that one. So what's your secret to propelling one's future? What is your secret?
Well, we talked about one piece of it already, and it's like flipping the script. If we're all used to thinking, oh, I got to get it all figured out by 30, for the next 30 years, and then I got to nail it or I'm wrong. No, like we definitely need to get that vision, and maybe we get it right, maybe we don't, but we've got to have that vision to shoot for, and then we can revise it. So that's one piece, is know that, hey, we've got to definitely get that done once and again and again and again. Potentially maybe multiple times for Generation Z. And, the other piece of it too is getting a rough idea. Let's not try and tell you can be these weird things that don't make any sense, that are super specific. I hope kids get a good rough idea of who they are. And that could be a conversation for a whole nother day, but we'll see if we got time for that too. But that's the key, is getting a rough idea, not these specifics of doing this, this, and this. Because half of those things, there's new things that will exist. Half of those things maybe on that personality assessment from 1989 probably don't even exist anymore. You can't do those for 30 years because they're gone.
That's right. That's right. This is good. So talk to us about the 3 steps that you were going to talk to us about.
Yeah, you bet. So, I've got this thing here. And so we got a crisis level. We got a pre-crisis level. We got basically normal range and healthy stress. And I guess we'll start with the healthy stress, because that's kind of like what's healthy stress? And it's there is a term for it. I'm not going to get crazy and go into the term. It's called eustress. So it's EUSTRE.
Eustress.
Yeah. So it's healthy stress. So at the green level, this is the level of stress that the kids are in that they can handle all by themselves. So in other words, the don't do on this one is don't helicopter. They're good. They're actually flexing those emotional intelligence muscles, and they're building up their ability to handle stress. And they do need to be taught different coping skills, even just like helping them take a breath or taking a time out and taking a break. And just remembering like we're just going to make our stress get worse if we just try and go hard at it. So, you know, that's the healthy stress level, is we do want that challenge, and we want people to, you know, kids are pretty good about telling us when they don't need our help, and like,
right, very much so. I have teenagers.
My business. Yeah. So that's the green level. We don't need a helicopter. We can let them handle that level of stress. We want those challenges for them. A lot of kids like to play it safe and get the A pluses. So a lot of my kids are actually those kids that, oh, there's our chart. Yeah. A lot of my kids are those kids that are going to be very good about getting the A plus, following the rubric, following whatever the teacher says. But we need to help them fail a little bit and stretch that green zone ability more. And then the yellow level. So we got that source of support on the left there. So you yourself, it's DIY in the green zone for all of us. Every last person on this planet right now is either green, yellow, or red. Right now, the stress level is one of these three levels. We got lots of emojis, we got lots of emotions, and there's a lot of nuance to feelings and emotions. However, everybody on the planet is at one of these three basic levels with the, you know, super basic emojis right there. So the next level is your support system. It's your trusted people. It's your team. It's your family. You know, just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a team to support a thriving teenager and empower them to realize their dreams. So at this middle level, this is where
the yellow level.
The yellow level. Yep. At the yellow level, what the problem is a lot of kids are filled with either parental pressure or peer pressure, and that's just making that stress rise. So what we need is those 5 people that are the company we keep. The 5 closest people that are surrounding us are going to determine whether our stress goes up into the red or we get our inner world green again and healthy again and bring it back down to the green. So it literally means when we cross that yellow line, it literally means we cannot do it on our own any longer. Whatever coping skills, whatever kind of abilities we have, we stretched past them. Now we need to count on somebody that we can lean on. And if those 5 people in our world, they can also lean on us, that's nice too. So if we've got 5 supportive people and it can go back and forth, then we can support each other in this yellow zone with our trusted people, our family members and friends we really, really can count on and trust. Because a lot of times kids are going to start putting that stuff on social and making it worse. And so we got peer pressure. We got social media where they can like, oh, I got my ear on that. Let me put this out there and make it worse for the kid. So it has to be people you can count on and trust in that yellow zone. So that's
let me ask a quick question, because I was always thinking until I just heard you say it, green is go, yellow is slow down, red is stop. Right. But actually what I'm hearing you say is in the yellow is still a safe zone for being able to invite your family, friends, your different people that you feel are your support system. So it's not like, hey, start pulling away from people, but it's actually in the yellow zone here. You're saying kind of embrace those that are there to support and embrace you.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I broke it into a couple of levels, just like the yellow light. So it's not about slowing down. It's about, well, we're getting closer to the crisis. So it's pre-crisis. So we might need to start thinking about being proactive. Like that mom talked about, hey, can't we spot things sooner? Well, that counselor might get that feel. That teacher might get that feel. That coach might get a feel. That parent could get that feel like this is beyond me or it's getting close. Let's be on the safer side and catch it in the yellow. Not when it's that late stage cancer kind of red zone mental health, but let's catch it in the yellow. So if we get higher in the yellow, it's not about there is a clear action. We're getting closer to the red, just like slow down should be the thing, not gun it to get through that light.
Right.
Not that anybody does that. Nobody ever does that.
I'm not going to tell anybody you do that, Donovan. Just
So yeah, and then finally the red zone is like, okay, it's beyond me as a mom or dad. It's beyond me as a friend. And now it's time to get, just to stay with them. So we got mental health first aid is the basics of that is just stay with the person. They can keep sharing with you. You can keep being there for them and then get them to that professional helper. So we got a trusted teammate in the middle. And then the red level is a professional helper, a mental health professional. We got to get them to the hospital. We can dial 988 if we got these red zone things. So we cannot overlook the red. But we didn't have a really, people say, oh, there was red flags and we missed them. So there
Right.
already is that language before I invented this. We already have the green, yellow, and red for all kinds of things. I saw it at my tire store. Okay, you got lots of tread, it's green.
Right.
Tread, it's yellow. You got a ball tire, it's red. So they're using this system. It's a language we already understand. And for this ridiculously confusing world with all this nuance of emotion and feelings, we need something that like I'm reminded of Joe. So I'll let you kind of dive in now, and then we'll talk maybe about Joe or answer questions.
Okay. I want to pop this phone number up to 988 is the new suicide prevention hotline. And I want to make sure that you all know that if there, it doesn't even matter if you're anonymous, take advantage of the help that is provided through the 988 United States number here for suicide prevention hotline. Now, every country, because again, the Kim Jacobs Show does stream in other countries as well. Each of you in your own respective areas do have your own suicide prevention hotline. And so make sure that you identify that urgently and reach out and ask for help, even if it's on an anonymous basis. But just don't let things get too overbearing for you if there's help out here for you. And what your system is doing is going to help people put it in the right buckets so that we'll know, here I'm good, here I'm maybe struggling a little bit, but I need to still embrace those that are willing to help me. And then here I need some significant help. But sometimes, like Les Brown often says, Donovan, when we're in the picture frame, we don't see ourselves. So it's hard for us to see ourselves. So how can people, young people in particular, take advice and take heed from the adults or those that kind of have authority over them to listen to them and do these things? Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, well, Dennis says, helping kids find a balance. And that's true. Like if our inner world is green, it's just like the environment out there is green. We have that balance. So we need that. And so when we go up though, so we're full capacity also when we're in balance and we're in the green,
right?
Our brain's at full capacity, but the more cortisol shoots in us, the more stress is there. We go into fight, flight, and freeze mode. And so we can't see anything. We can't see straight. I do use some Beatles songs for this too, and some Disney songs. So for the kids, I'm like, let it go, let it go.
Let it go, y'all. This is good.
Let it be with the Beatles is the green zone. And then the yellow zone, there's two of them. It's like we can work it out because it's a conflict and we can just
wait. When you say we can work it out, now you got to be very specific, because see, from my African-American community in church, it's like Jesus will work it out. It's like, so I don't know whether you say who.
That can come in at any level, the kind of outside support from our own selves or our people among us. Right. I mean, that can help at the green, the yellow, the red, that can help at any level, but we certainly want to know, well, what additional help can we provide from the outside?
Well, when we come
from within, we should say.
From within. I love that. So what additional help can we provide from within?
That's
and
right.
So you've shared those three parameters and steps for us to keep in mind. And parents, this show is about how we balance different aspects of our lives. So what have we had to go through to overcome and become who we are today? And Donovan today is providing some pieces of the puzzle that can make our lives easier as we're dealing with our own children. I have 5 children. One lives in heaven, obviously. I talk about my son Gabe all the time. But my 4 remaining children here, we're using those same techniques that you're sharing, even though I never called it that until I'm now meeting you, Donovan. Right. But that's like red. Oh my gosh, I need to make sure my child has this mental health day and get some kind of counseling. Not because they're on the verge of doing anything harmful to themselves, but because I'm a mom and I hear people like you all the time. I kind of know now what to look for and what to listen for. And I'll ask, do you think that it would be a good idea for you to just get some additional help outside of what I'm able to provide as a mother or what your dad is able to provide as a father? And that is a good question, in my opinion, because that gives them the chance to answer. I actually do think that would be great. And I can get them some help. Yeah. So I love what you're saying here.
And that's the song for the red level too, is just help from the Beatles. So as our brain capacity goes down, help, like one word, that one word is we need to know it, whether we know it ourselves. Yes, I need additional help, or you got that mother's intuition and like that next level mother's intuition that you have, Kim, then that's definitely that time to like override that and say, I really feel like that help's needed. I can't provide that. I don't want to run that risk too of that going up into the red zone, because that's where all forms of harm have always happened throughout human history.
That's right.
Every self-harm and every harm to others, when that brain shuts down, it goes into flight, fight, or freeze mode. It just can shut down even further. And then all manner of harm and evil happens to self or others from that red zone. So that really explains every last thing that's happened. Even like back in 2020, as soon as COVID hit and they were talking about flattening the curve, I made a post in April of 2020 about flattening that stress curve, because we just had 7 billion, 8 billion people go up toward the red zone all at once across the whole planet. And that had never happened. And I think a lot of people are still wavering up there near that yellow and red. And so that's kind of an explanation of where we're at and why we need to actually lean on each other more, because even a counselor might be like toward that high yellow and red with all this going on. They might need to lean on somebody, and then they're good the next day or the next month.
And so you can't really just look at a person based on their exterior and determine that, they're good because they look good. It can be a lot of factors that are coming into play. And with so many different school shootings and all kind of even natural disasters, where like we know in Florida, things were just Hurricane Ian, all kind of even just natural disasters that are overwhelming COVID, something I never even thought of any type of pandemic that could come and swoop across the land and over 1 million people pass away. So these are things outside of
here too. If we're living up there already, it doesn't take much to go up to that next level. Or, we could be green and then, some weather thing happens. We're instantly red, just like that.
That's right. So everything that you're sharing today is something that universally every person can benefit from. I can personally learn from your method, even though I know it's geared towards young people, but I can learn from it, and all of us can. So, okay, let me also find out from you, do you believe that teens can actually improve their emotional intelligence, and sometimes more so than even adults? I'd love to hear your theory on that when we come right back after this commercial break. Is that okay, Donovan?
Yes, indeed.
Are you enjoying yourself? Are we having a good conversation?
This is near and dear to my heart. It's like my reason for existence here. So I'm good. Let's go.
All right. We'll be right back, everybody, talking with Donovan Dreyer and his wonderful method that he's helping young people with today. All right. We'll be right back.
Nothing says I love you more than Final Expense Insurance Whole Life Protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions, 704-499-3616.
All right, everybody, we're back and we're talking with Donovan Dreyer. And one of the questions we just asked is, can teenagers develop a better emotional intelligence than some grown-ups? I don't know. What's your theory?
Well, I actually discovered it. So we will go back to Joe. So Joe whisked into my office, and for thousands of years, we've been dealing with mindfulness or self-awareness.
Right.
I don't think we thought that much about other awareness. So, I developed other awareness. Mother's intuition is other awareness. You're aware of your kids and you got that kind of vibe of what's going on for them. So there's that. But, I don't think there was a term other awareness. But yeah, that's what I had as a school counselor after 15 years. But it was so much better to I had a really big one of these on my whiteboard, and I just, laminated it 3 foot by 2 foot on the whiteboard and would use it. But Joe walked in and she said, I'm in the red zone. I was like, perfect. She has the awareness already to know, go to the pro. I'm in the red, I go to the pro. And so that's what that's what the school counselor is in the building, is the mental health professional. And I may take a kid in this situation and as the pro be able to help them and get back down from red. I may not. And off they go for a deeper dive mental health evaluation at the hospital. So I never know, but obviously I am on red alert because it's red. She straight up told me. And then, we talked about, so the next thing I want to know is well, how long have you been in the red? And, there were some people days, some people weeks, some people months that they're in the red zone. So she said, well, it's just from this morning. I got busted, Mr. Dreyer. So, you know, parents are going to take away her phone. She's grounded.
Right.
So she just like a natural disaster in a teenager's world. They
Oh,
lost.
if somebody's taking away the phone, I don't even know why that needs to be
It's a
the
natural
punishment.
disaster. So, you know, this is maybe 6-7 years ago. Teen natural disaster in the red zone. Well, we were able to decompress out of the red zone without sending that one off to the hospital. But she bounded out the door and she said, I'm in the green zone now. And then I looked at my chart and I was like, there's nothing there. We didn't grab a, you know, erasable marker and do anything on the chart. Like I would normally, how are you doing today? How are you doing last week? How are you doing the day before, to get a trend? Right. She knew to come in because it was red, and she knew she was good to go. And I also, with my other awareness, had the confidence. I'm going to follow up if somebody's in the red and they come down from the red. That's definitely a given. But when she straight up could say, I'm here and then I'm not, I have a visual of like, we were red and now we're green. Like on one column, then it literally would look like, you know, here she is at the red and then she comes down to the green. And we have a visual, like an X-ray vision into the inner world of a teenager. Mm-hmm. And she had already taken this framework and internalized it. So Joe was good to go. And Joe had come in and knew what she was, like where she was with her emotional intelligence. Right. And there is less than 1% at this point of the population still that don't have this ability, adult, teenager, or whatever. So that's my mission. I got to get this out there to more people, because we have traffic lights in all 50 states. We're not about to have purple ones in some places and 5 colors in other places. We just have these 3. We understand what it means. Other awareness and self-awareness. I got to stop when it's yellow, slow down and stop. They're about to go on their green. We know what we're doing at that intersection. We know what they're doing at that intersection. And so when kids go up in that red zone, we need to have that awareness for them if they don't ask for the help. But if they do ask for the help, now we know, okay, this is beyond me. I am not a school counselor. I'm not a mental health professional. Let's get you that additional help, and let's go find you a pro.
Wow. And now, even with what you're saying, Donovan, children can help other children. Like I can tell you, I saw my daughter had a scenario recently, and I'm not going to go into every detail, but she left herself anonymous in the situation. And she just knew that there was a slight crisis happening with this person. And she talked through the situation, never revealing who she was, because the person was in a tucked away corner. But later she saw that the person did actually come out. And based on everything that she had shared with her, how valuable you are, how important you are, and different things that she kind of talked to her as a peer. Mm-hmm. Not even, she may never encounter this person again. And the person may never know that it was her, even though I did tell her one way that the person will know it was her because it was some identifying mark. She was like, I didn't even think about that, you know, because she didn't want the person to know that it was her. Yeah. But she realized by when the timing of when the person exited the situation, who it was, even though she doesn't even know that person. I'm talking in codes on purpose. But my point is, I feel like from that scenario that young people can still use your method to help another person that's in crisis through that red, yellow, and green. So my question to you is, what advice would you give for parents to be able to train our children that if you see someone in these areas, report it, do what? What do you tell us to tell them?
Yeah, I mean, well, we talked about teenagers figuring this out. I had 3 years working at the elementary school level. So I finally got a job at one of my 3 daughters' schools, and she was elementary school, 4th grader. She turned red the first time I came in class, embarrassed her, but that's a different red. So at the elementary school level, I would go in every month and just do a lesson and do another lesson and do another lesson. So, that's the key, is just having these conversations and having a ridiculously simple system that takes something so complex and confusing and reduces it and simplifies it into a super common language. So even the elementary school kids, I believe, developed over the course of those 3 years. If you did 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade with me, month in, month out, you probably have better emotional intelligence than a lot of adults. So as we help our kids, we can just, have one of these on hand and say, where are you at? Or just draw it on the piece of paper like like a traffic light and explain, red is super serious, green is, you're good, and yellow's in between.
That's good.
There's super simple, like, how are you doing? And, sometimes they're not going to be honest with us. So we got to just keep developing those relationships. We got to have regular conversations, and then we have to have dinners together. So those routines of making those connections constantly and consistently are so important for kids to keep that trust there as much as possible. And then having people that are outside as well that are going to help you with that is helpful as well. So adding kids in that support system, we can't have too many people in there. We're probably going to have 5 that we're kind of like, they kind of instruct us, inform us, and make us who we are, the 5 that we're the closest with in our support system. But we can layer in more uncles and aunts, more people in the community, more people that we can count on that can develop that relationship, coaches and so on. Good. So the more layers in that yellow, the better. But when we're in that red zone, it's just, you got to be honest. Like, we can't run the risk if every last bit of self-harm and violence to others in this planet has always happened throughout human history because we're in the red. Then if we're getting that vibe that they're in the red, or they tell us we're in the red, there you go. You got to get that professional help. We're not about talking with a friend or a family member any longer. Like I said, that basic mental health first aid is stick with a person if you feel like they're in the red, and get them to that mental health pro, or work through, that opportunity to get them into that extra layer of help. So yeah, it doesn't have to be rocket science or super complicated. Right. And this system's simple. It's either too much for all of us, it's good to go, or we have something in between.
That's good.
That's kind of what evolved out of this. And that's exactly what made the traffic light pop in, is there's like 3 things. So there's 3 things to do. There's 3 things not to do. And then that really helps us get it, super simplified, so we can keep this inner world in a, we can keep each other safer with this system. For the inner world traveling that we do through these emotions and stresses and ups and downs, we want to be safe on the roads, and we want to be safe with those ups and downs emotionally as well. And so the better we get about this ourselves, for our self-awareness, and for others with the other awareness, the better this is going to be for I believe, our human family.
Excellent. And I think I agree with everything that you're already saying. It's very enlightening. So I believe that it can be universally helpful across the globe. So I hope this program goes viral for people to know more about what you've implemented here as something that can really work. All right. So as far as like valedictorians, this is just a side question. Okay. I want to know, why is it that like some valedictorians and salutatorians and different people, they are brilliant masterminds, right? They have like straight A's and different things on their grading system, but then it's somewhat still challenging sometimes for some people that hold those high honors to have some of the common I don't want to say street sense, but just, everyday, how do I deal with this every day? They're brilliant in one area, and in another area, they may not be as brilliant. I'm trying to figure out, without taking away from their brilliance, to ask that question, Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like they want to keep it in that green zone,
right?
Always, so it's like, all right, how's my math teacher different than my English teacher? I'll read that. And how do I get the rubric figured out? And I'll do all those things. And so it's about safety and it's about security. So there's nothing wrong with that. But it's also about settling. So those are the 3 S's: safety, security. And then the problem with it is settling. So if we're settling and we're keeping it down in the green. So I was reading this book, The Power of Habit, by Charles Duhigg. And he talked about Bob Bowman stepping on Michael Phelps's glasses on purpose. And he was like, why'd you do that? I'm going to lose this race. He's like, well, just race the race. Let's see how it goes. It's not the Olympics. And he didn't win the race. So self-fulfilling prophecy is probably like bad mindset attitude on that. But number 2, you stepped on my goggles, dude. Coach, what are you doing here? And so afterwards, he's like, why'd you do that? He's like, you got to learn how to handle that. So he basically, Phelps is too comfortable. So let's step on your goggles and like push you into the yellow. Not all the way up to this high pre-crisis level. But what I envisioned is like, okay, if they're going to push him up into the yellow, but then afterwards they handled the trigger. So he actually swam all of his little events and counted the strokes with his eyes closed. So they shut the lights down and they did the length of the pool. He probably bumped his head a few times, but he would practice counting how many strokes per event.
Oh, wow. So, okay. So there was a solution
There was
to
a solution to the trigger.
that is incredible, which then no matter what comes or what goes, he can still always win.
Exactly.
Wow,
That
that's
kind of
really,
makes what in the zone looks like too. So what in the zone looks like is a wavy line between green and yellow. And so that's one of the charts I've done to represent that in my Instagram. So my Instagram's got a ton of stuff, especially from back in 2017. I put
I'm definitely subscribing or following you on Instagram for sure, because I need this for my
Yeah,
family.
so I mean, that's the zone. That's what the zone looks like. You can't get too comfortable. We can't push it up too high, so we got to handle the trigger. But see, I think a lot of kids that are valedictorians are like, I got a 94%. If that slips to an 89, it's over. I got to get that to a 101. And it's like, well, that's playing it way too safe. And maybe you don't want to mess up your grades and get D's and F's. I'm not saying that, but they've got to find another outlet. They've got to find ways to experiment. And so I think we get experience through experiments.
I agree.
You don't get experience by like knowing the rubric and knowing the teacher, being able to deliver on everything we're told what to do. These kids are going to expand their leadership. They're going to blow up their experience through experimentation. So that's what it's really about for me with the valedictorians I've worked with, or the kids that are aspiring to be one, is let's get you out of your comfort zone and stretch you. I won't step on your goggles, because I did have a swimming valedictorian, and I didn't step on her goggles, but
but you know what to do to gently nudge is the point.
Gentle nudge, yeah.
Good. Now, even with young people today, there is so many changes that's happening in society. You have things like cryptocurrency, y'all. I mean, you name it, it's happening. And there's so much, even like electrical cars, and it's so much to adjust to. And how do you help teens or young people adjust to all of these different changes without being thrust into that red zone?
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely those nudges. How gentle is the nudge? Is it too much? Because we need some tough love. So you step on the goggles and you have a game plan with that as a coach. It's a tough love moment. And the player, the swimmer doesn't know what's going on here, but it's, tough love. And so we need some of that tough love, and we need to stretch people out of that comfort zone. And then we need to make sure we have an ability. Okay, I threw them right into pre-crisis. That's not healthy. That's not tough love. That's a mistake. And, so I think we have a lot of people, with the best of intentions, sometimes really pushing kids and pressuring them way too much. Mm-hmm. So parental pressure, the peer pressures are maybe to do knuckleheaded things, but, we do have a lot of change going on. So that throws a bunch more variables in the mix. And, I think it circles back to that vision and revision again. So we can make that plan and that game plan. And then it does help to have a sounding board, to have that outside person. I know when I've worked with my coaching clients, especially as they get to be 19 and 20, when they get a little bit older, they're not wanting to go to mom as much, but they totally still want that sounding board, or mom or dad. They still want that sounding board to navigate through some of those things. And so as the non-crisis comes up, a coach is great. If it's a crisis, the coaches need to know their limitations too. So coaches need to get a vibe for this red, yellow, and green as well. So coaches belong in that lower yellow to green. They don't want to be throwing their kids up into the yellow and red, and they don't want to miss those signs or push them to those levels. So a lot of life coaches do not have this experience. And, that's the gift I've got, is to actually be able to bring in this system. And, it's something I could teach every school. I'd be, happy to teach every school in America this system. So we all got it. Yes. Just that one shift that Garrett Morgan did with the traffic light is he added the yellow.
Yes.
In the driving, people were taking off too soon, stopping too slow. And Garrett Morgan added the yellow 100 years ago. We haven't needed anything else since. No more extra colors. So you make that one little dialed in difference. And now you could teach people something for a century. And I believe this is something that could be taught for the next century across the globe. And that's, really what we got to do, is get a better handle on what are we doing to push these kids enough, and let's not push them too much.
That's really, really good. So just team takeoff. It takes a team to realize a dream. So see, technically speaking, you are still in the aviation field in your own regard. You're just helping the team.
Thank you, Dennis. I'll add that in the mix. But yeah, I got it. It's kind of a poke. It's a little bit of a jab at me. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of fun to poke fun at myself.
It's a good thing, though. It's a great thing, because all you've done is just literally shifted what you were going to do, and you're helping more people take off and take flight in life. And it's a beautiful thing, actually. Good morning, Kim. And you're in your virtual seat. Yes, Mom. My mom is watching today. Thank you so much for supporting Ella Spratley. And now, is there anything that you didn't get a chance to say during this episode that you really wanted to get across to everyone?
Do you have any like last burning question, Kim? Like just for the audience that for what we could use earlier rather than later. What's on your mind?
Well, for me, one thing I wanted to know is about, I see a graduation photo of someone on your Facebook page, and I wanted to just know a little bit about your family, but I don't know if that is a family member. Is that
Yes,
you?
yeah.
Okay, let me pop that.
We've got a graduate from last year. So my oldest daughter is going into makeup school. So she's going to.
Is that her?
That's my mom. So my mom's right there. And then my daughter, Lily, and the same shirt, apparently. So, so she wants to do makeup school, and she's got an Instagram, Looks by Lily D. For the past 2 years, what I recognize is she created what I call resume 2.0. So everybody's resume is in everybody's pocket. This phone is our resume. So when she created this beginning of her journey of learning makeup, it's all there. The whole evolution the past 2 years is there. And now there's crazy, scary stuff from October because she wants to do special effects stuff. But she's going after it. And she tested me too, because I definitely had those feelings as a dad of, well, she got all A's and B's. Like all my kids from the past, mostly, it'd be if they had bad grades, they wouldn't do college. But I am the outside the box guy. And she's like out of the box girl. So she's going for it with going into special effects makeup. So there's one grad. And then my next middle daughter of 3, she's graduating this year, and she's actually looking at colleges. So we got
I'm trying to find pictures.
Traditional.
Let me see if I can find another. I don't know if all of these are the girls. I'm trying to find different ones. That's what I'm over here.
Yeah, I need to start using my my Facebook, not strictly business. Yeah, Lucy's the one I got my arm around there, and then Sally's my youngest. So
these are all the girls in this picture.
I got 3 teenage daughters.
Okay, so now I really want to know, and I'm glad you asked me what question I have. With 3 teenage daughters, do you find yourself sometimes in that red zone yourself, Donovan? Oh, trust me.
I got a boy cat. We have a boy cat.
Huh?
We have a boy cat. No, look, I've actually gone to counseling a couple of times, because at the end of that year where we had those 3 tragedies in a 2-week span, actually everybody else left town. It was during Thanksgiving break. So we got that time of year coming up again, so that's definitely one of those things where you feel it again. And so the pro needs a pro. Yeah. So it doesn't matter that I'm a pro. It's also, I went public too one time about getting that need for therapy on my Facebook in a rough moment, just to show, okay, there is a stigma about this. What do we do about that? Well, why don't I actually put that out there when I've got that moment, and I'm going to be sharing how I'm emotionally, like everybody's worried about me. It's like, I got this. I'm going to go to a pro. This is what we do. So you got to go get that help for yourself as well whenever we're in the red zone, because every single human is either green, yellow, or red at any given moment. And we got to respect, what type of help, because we get help every day. There's self-help at the green every day. We're gonna do something to help that out, or we're not making it through the day. Or there's the yellow level, we're leaning on somebody, or the red level, professional help. So we just got to be better about making those distinctions. And I've thought of the way to make that happen. So I've demystified it, cracked the code, and now we've got the whole world can get better and better and better at identifying where they're at and what their needs are, and identifying where their kids are at and what their kids' needs are.
I love it. I love it. And so have you connected ever with any of the families or do you do anything special to commemorate the Columbine shooting situation, since that's inspired you?
I think if I look back at the past, the reality is, like, transparently, like there's just like so much need constantly. Like you turn around the next day and there's a line out the door, in the school counseling world. So I haven't been in the schools the last 2 years. I'm doing the coaching full time. But to be honest, like, it's just a constant need. And unfortunately, that trajectory of like the issues we have with harm to self or harm to others, those haven't gotten better yet.
That's right.
We got to do a better job of this. And I think that's part of my mission as well. If we all can develop better X-ray vision into each other, then we're all going to be better off. So that's part of the mission.
And what do you get to do for fun outside of being a great dad and cracking codes and helping teens and helping parents? What's something that you actually do for self-care for fun?
Yeah, I do like sports. I get out and hit some tennis balls and like hitting golf balls too. So those are usually things I do. We go out and do some hiking around here too. So Colorado is amazing for that. But I mean,
My
I'm
children love hiking.
crazy. I'm like kind of geeked out about this inner world and the mental health and coaching and helping kids, because I just see we're in a tight spot. You know, I think as a humanity, as a society, we're in a tight spot, and that trajectory hasn't gotten better. So therefore, I just kind of double down a little bit too much on getting serious about this inner world and about helping our human family out. So there is a need for me to get better about getting myself that recharge.
Well, I think that you're making the world a better place. And I'm so grateful that you stopped by the Kim Jacobs Show today to make it possible for other people to hear your story and your journey and how you're making this simple strategy of green, yellow, red make a difference where everybody can say, don't worry about scale of 1 to 10. Don't worry about all of that. If you're in the green, keep using that skill. Red, yellow, talk with a friend. Those that support you, in red, get that professional help. It's quite simple. This is a chart that everybody can benefit from. Any closing comments, Donovan?
Oh, thank you so much, Kim. I mean, I appreciate you, and just any way I can help you in the future, I'm happy to be here to just it's like we have dis-ease is what we're combating, and basically it's a contagious ease solution. So we got to spread ease contagiously and have that go viral, and that's what I'm here to do. So if there's anything that I can do to help you, help anybody in your community, I'm happy to help. I do have, if you reach out to me, I've got various different ways to get connected and get into my community and get supported. So yeah, I'm just here to help.
Well, thank you for being here. And remember, everyone, go and vote. I voted today. Make sure that you actually, yes. Oh, that's what I'll do. I'll stick it on my phone. I voted today. We voted today. Make sure that you go and get your help go and cast your vote. Every vote matters. You have the right to choose who you vote for. So we're not on here telling you who to vote for. Vote for whoever you choose, but cast your vote. And that's important. And today is also National STEM Day. And National STEM Day, there is no way around it. Children are it's ironic that today is National STEM Day with you being on. Strong with science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. That's why STEM and STEAM education programs are so important. So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and the green light, yellow light, red light. We might as well add that to the whole program, what we learned today from Donovan. All right, everybody, that's today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Donovan, stay backstage. Let me put how people can stay connected with you one more time. Go ahead and tell them how they can stay connected with you.
All right. Yeah. I mean, the easiest place to get a hold of me is probably through Facebook, honestly. Just friend me on Facebook. I'm wide open to that. So that's super, super easy. And then you can email me too at donovan@getreadycoaching.com.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Well, we're going to get off soon, but we just have to wait for the mom that's backstage that's helping her toddler as well. So we're just going to keep waving until we get clicked off of the show. Here we go, everybody. Y'all have a great rest. That's funny. Rest of your day. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.